Hey boys and girls, it's Night Stalker here. Welcome along today to my video on the Season 8 patch notes. Check it out. It's nice to see you. I hope it's nice to see me too. Night Stalker here. I've got the old logo. But we're going to get a new one real soon. Check it out. Let's get on to the patch notes. Alrighty, so we've got a bunch of new content, as you may have noticed. We've got the Cudgel Monks, Grey Hair Garrison, and Moado. I butcher these names so badly. But anyway, with these units, you're going to get 10 leadership reduction for the season. And also, we're going to reduce the resupply cost of the unit by 50%. Now that's fantastic because you can actually use them a lot more without paying a fortune to have them. We've activated a bunch of Season 8 content. We'll talk about that soon. This one. They're all pretty much the same as in the previous editions, previous seasons. They have added a new region to the game, Long Ting, and all players will be forced to start there. When you first log in on Season 8, you will only have the option to start in that region and that city. They've added bandit raids, which is the same as the thief quests, the 5 times a week and the big chunky experience. If you've got any advanced unit cards or advanced boosters, any things like that, always save them for those bandit raid thief quests. Activated the Fame system in the Garrison Quartermaster store. So that is the same as Guntham or the Fame in previous seasons, where you get all of those little items and you take them and trade them in for banners, unit attires, weapon attires, things like that, and you progress along the seasonal track, I guess. It's a little bit different to the F5. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully you know what I mean. I'm explaining it so badly. But it's the guy where you hand in the arm rings. It's kind of like him, okay? New class Pike. Now there's going to be a lot said on this over the coming weeks as people get to play it, especially from the CCs and in the chat rooms like Discord and things like that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail for this because you don't want an 8-hour video and neither do I. So basically, here you go. You can either pause as we go through, or I'm going to also provide the link for this this page in the description of the video below. So I won't read all of this out because there's a lot of information there about the Pike. Here we go though, the new units and unit challenges. This is important. 3 new seasonal challenge unit interface, be able to access these through the season. So of course, that is the Monks, the Grey Hair Garrison, and the Moado Battalion. Just one note here, they don't actually have a date yet when the Moado Battalion will be available. Oh, one thing about the Moado Battalion is that it was originally going to be a Tier 4 unit, which is why it has Tier 4 leadership and Tier 4 stats. However, what they found in testing was that, unfortunately, it really outperformed Tier 4 units, which I don't know how that didn't happen for Berserkers, that testing, but it did. And so they've made it a Tier 5 unit, and it does perform in my limited experience so far, it does perform as a Tier 5. They are very choppy. So, unit challenge improvements. This is fantastic, especially for new players. So, all the seasonal units from previous seasons, it's going to be a lot easier to get them. You're only going to have to do 6 out of 8 challenges, 8 out of 10 challenges, things like that. So, if you're going to go back and you're going to get Conditori, or your Falconetti, or your Namcan Archers, I don't know, whatever you want, Paladins, Stalwarts, those are now going to be easier to get for all previous seasons. Yay. Trust me, man, it used to be a massive grind back in the day to get these units, and anyone who's been playing for more than a year will really understand and feel that pain. So I'm really glad that you guys are not going to have to go through that pain. The game is becoming a lot more new player or mid-tier player friendly, and I really like it. Right, pretty much covers that. Okay, so the Fame store has changed a little bit. Now the seasonal Fame, the blades and things that you get are now going to carry over season to season with a maximum of 10,000. They're also not going to take up a slot in your inventory. I don't think that's a new change, I think that's a recent change, but it's a very good one as well. So you're not going to lose them all at the end of the season, you don't have to spend them all, and if you've got everything you want, just save them up for the next season so you can get some newer tyres and things like that. Fame can be earned by any of the following methods. To do this, you bring the materials to the Garrison Quartermaster. You can do a maximum 6 times a week. Nothing's changed there. Daily and seasonal quests and story quests, and also participating in the bandit raids. So again, nothing's changed there. You get all of the things to trade in for the what do you call it? The little name above your head. Why can't I remember what that's called? The little tagline anyway. And you can get the avatars. You get the golden artillery boxes, all of those things that you got before. You know, the Valhalla Elite name above, just up here, you know, Valhalla Elite. Those things is what we're talking about here. Okay, matchmaking materials. Matchmaking battles, bandit raids and expeditions have a chance of rewarding special items which you can bring to the Quartermaster for fame. And from what I've played so far, there's a few of them. And you can only collect, I think, a maximum of 25 of each per week. But it is a useful way to get yourself along that track, which is historically quite hard to do. Okay, so we've got the campaign. There's nothing different about the campaign from previous ones other than obviously where they're happening and things like that, so you don't need to worry. Strategic map warpaths. Okay, so this is going to be great if you're a territory war player. They added the feature to create strategic warpaths, which should serve to reduce the amount of communication needed during territory wars within alliances. These warpaths will be shown as a connecting line on the world map and leading from alliance members to targeted thieves. So that's going to really help you if you're a territory war player. I think it's well overdue to have some sort of UI thing like that. Seasonal runes. Runes are back, and if you want to look at all of the runes I have on my previous video, the Season 8 preview video, you'll be able to see every single rune in the game. I kind of highlighted them all for you, so you can go back and have a look at that if you want. One of the biggest changes about the runes now is that you've got 5 rune slots on your weapon, so you know some runes take up more than one slot, but all of your armors can now have them, so your helmet and your armor and your boots and your gloves can all have runes now, but they all only have 3 slots each. So there is a very slight increase in the amount of rune capacity, but it's not super noticeable, so that's really good to hear. Okay, so some of the following items are easier to acquire. We've moved into the seasonal store to Conqueror's Path, so that's the ones that you get when you press F5 and go to the first tab, and you progress along there. If you've got the battle pass, you'll go across the top line. If you don't, you just go across the bottom line. So these things are now going to be in that track, and you'll get more of them, which is really good, because you do need a lot of weapon schematics. Battle relics are useful, I guess, if you're starting. I haven't needed those for some time, but I'm sure somebody has a useful for them. Back in the day, they were a really hit and miss, and I've never found them to be a useful item, but I hope some of you are. Gold dust, which is one of the least useful crafting items in the game, as any of you that have been playing for quite some time will realise. Honor reset tokens. I'm really glad to see those becoming more common in the game, because it's so easy to make a mistake wasting all your honor on the tech tree on a unit that is a little underperforming. Personal histories, it's great. You can do more changes to your stats, and unit medals to stop having to grind. And that's another thing I really appreciate, thank you Booming Tech, is because, again, back in the day, back in my day, uphill both ways, it was things like my first level 30 tier 5 was Tercios, and oh my gosh, the grind for that was dozens and 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 decade blimmin' heaps of games, giga games, to actually get them up to level 30. So the prevalence of unit medals and the thief quests, thief raids, bandit raids now, is oh yeah, I really love seeing that, because it's going to help those new players and those in mid tiers get those units leveled up a lot quicker than they would have in the past. I'm really glad you guys don't have to go through that level of grind. Starting from Season 7, you'll be able to obtain them just by ranking up, and as we talked about, the blades are a permanent currency. They have an upper cap of 10,000, and of course they're now going to not take up the inventory slot. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Antique attires from the seasonal store. Antique attires based on attires from Season 3 Soldiers of Fortune have been added to the seasonal store. Things to note, Season 4 have been added to the store and will only be available through this season. Season 4 Antique Hero and Unit attires will be a 20% discount, so if you want those ones from Season 4, this season is the season to use your blades to get them. In Season 3, Antique Hero attire and Unit attires will be available in Season 7 are now back to full price. Season 3 Antique Weapon attires along with Season 2 Hero attires have been removed from the seasonal store, and that's a little thing. They progress along the track, right? So I guess we'll lose access to the Season 3 ones in the seasonal store at the end of this season. If you're wondering what it means by Antique Hero and Antique Unit attires, what that means is, for example, if you were playing in Season 3 and you got the Era Lord armor, which is the level 100 armor, you will get the what do you call it, achievement, and you also get the logo for up in the top left corner in battles and things like that, the avatar. and you'll only get that if you get the original one during the actual season. The antique ones will not give you any of those bonuses, and the other thing is that it's usually recolored. So it shows that you've got the armor, but you didn't get it the right way. I don't know. I don't know what the purpose of that is. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're all standing around pointing at each other, you know. I just love, by the way, this door. I like carrying a door around. I'm looking forward to playing door and longsword in this season. Optimizations, auxiliary unit changes. Now this is an excellent change. During previous versions, auxiliary units were a weekly bonus that provided some manner of strength in battle. Naturally, as you gained more and more power, the relative value in their use decreased. You get to the point, like me, where you've got all the units and you have no use for them whatsoever anymore. That's why we'll be upgrading this feature in the new season. Our goal is to make them relevant for warlords of all level, although it's not going to. If you're fully maxed, you're not going to find any use for this, but it gets better if you're not. Auxiliary units will be fixed levels depending on their unit star level. Tier 3 units will always be level 8. Tier 4 will always be level 12. And Tier 5 will always be level 15. And once you recruit them, they can't be leveled up, and all experience they gain will be added to your shared unit XP pool. That is fantastic. It makes them so much more usable because you're not getting them at level 1 when they're absolutely trash. Auxiliary units will have preset doctrines, and these cannot be socketed, removed, or upgraded, which is good. Basically, they become more like a mercenary unit because you also don't have to replace the unit kits and models. Auxiliary units will have preset veterancy points, and they cannot be altered. If you've got a premium account, you'll get more of the auxiliary points. By the way, a premium account is the best thing you can do for your progress through the game. If you can afford one, I strongly recommend you get a premium account. They're not that expensive, but you know, if you can't, you can't. 7 auxiliary units will be refreshed every week, and you'll get a range of them. Now here's the best bit. Seasonal units will now be available as auxiliaries, so that's absolutely fantastic for new players who want to try these units before they invest a lot of time through the challenges or try and flush through the tech tree before they really understand what's going to happen with these units. So you can give them a try at mid-leveled them, and if you like them, you can actually go along the challenges. It's a fantastic change for new players. This game is becoming so much more new player and mid-tier player friendly, and I absolutely love it. Auxiliary units you recruit will disappear at the end of the week's rotation, and when the rotation becomes available, and they will no longer be skilled like previously. That's great. I can't remember if they take up barracks slot. I haven't used them for a while, but they were annoying to see them in your barracks rotation. Auxiliary units will not consume kits, and you will not lose units when you die, so you can use them as siege pushes if you want. You can take them to territory wars and not lose any money, any bronze. It's a good change. And they've also greatly reduced the hero level requirement to recruit auxiliary units. Again, very good for new players. If you do have any sealed auxiliary units right now, they will be deleted. But you're going to get shared unit experience as a compensation for doing that. I wish I'd actually taken a few more auxiliary units in the meantime. So, Imperial Restorationist changes. By the way, that is the cohorts. In Season 8, when the thieves of an AR faction are captured by player-run houses, Imperial Restorationists of that region will automatically declare war against them. Very important change. And we've added a time display for when the Imperial Restorationists become available within the Imperial Restorationist menu, making it easier to see. Okay, so if your house leader's a bit of a donger and you're a bit stuck anyway, this is going to be good for you. Houses that leave or are removed from an alliance will be unable to join or create another alliance for 72 hours, and that's really useful, especially for those dirty tactics that people sometimes roll out in territory wars. You know who you are. The world map changes. The border post. Oh my goodness, booming tech. I love you for this one. You no longer need to physically enter the border post to pass between the regions, and it can now be done from the interface on the world map. You may now check when border posts are available to pass from its tooltip by interacting with its menu. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Cross-region migration tokens. Regions that are available to move via cross-region migration tokens will gradually become available as the season progresses. For example, in Season 8's initial stages, cross-region migration tokens may be used to migrate to Langyang and Longting. Once border posts to Mayong open, players will also be able to migrate there. Improvements for interaction with stacked models in the open world. Another brilliant change, and I'm loving it. Mwah. When interacting with units or models that are stacked in a tight bunch in the open world, it will now open a menu where you'll be able to choose which character model you want to interact with. That is fantastic when you're all trying to fight around a highly popular resource node, or in some of those real messy stacked battles that you can sometimes get where there's like a billion people and you just can't quite click on the right person. They've reduced the chance for lesser Green Peak, Frontier Camp and the Storehouse Siege battle maps from being chosen when matchmaking, and that is good because those battle maps are not balanced. They're not designed around how the other ones are done, and it changes the balance when you've got less players and smaller play area. They've also improved some siege engines, including the battering ram and siege towers in certain maps. Moving siege engines are now able to block and knock back heroes and units, i.e. you won't end up inside them, and heroes will fall if they are riding. Oh, okay. So that's quite interesting. So if you get bumped into by a battering ram, do you fall off a horse? I'm going to test that immediately. And what that means, in some of the back channels, we've got a little bit of detail, is that they're sometimes going to get faster, they're sometimes going to get more hit points, and it depends on the map. Now, this is the other absolutely brilliant, just brilliant new change here. The score calculation changes, booming tech, your legends. We have noticed that not all contributions in battle are reflected in each Warlord's final score. Us longsword players, we feel that pain. This is why we're making the following changes to scoring algorithm, giving altogether a better rating of performance. Increasing the maximum score that can be gained for damage taken in standard battles. As a warlord takes more damage in battle, the rate at which their score is reduced is also decreased. All of you shield players, all of you people who take all melee units because you want to push, you will now be rewarded for doing that. That is amazing. The MVP algorithm has been changed, and MVP will now be better reflective of Warlord's overall performance, and now takes into account occupying objective points, taking less damage, destroying large artilleries, and this will increase the likelihood of you getting MVP. So all of those short sword, those long sword players who tank the points, all of those people who go around and destroy the big stuff and spend time actually shooting the siege towers and things like that, you are going to be rewarded for that awesome team play now, and that is one of the best changes I've seen for this season. Death information. So back in Season 6 we did have this death information screen, and we're getting it back now after they've made some modifications and fine-tuned it. What happens now is when you die, instead of just having the B button to press to make your unit retreat, you also have a T button, and it will bring up these things here to tell you how you died and who did the most damage, and whether it was units or heroes or artillery. And that's fantastic, because sometimes you go, oh my god, how did I die? What the heck just happened? You can flick in here and find that some dude over the other side of the map fired a blister and hit you in the head. And that way you can stop cursing out that glaive with this massive ult. Equipment crafting changes. This is an interesting change. I don't think it was necessary, but we're going to get it anyway. To improve the overall gameplay experience, we're changing attributes for crafted armors, helmets, breastplates, gloves and boots by increasing the chance of gaining multiple attributes when crafting. It will now be easier to craft equipment with crit rate, anti-crit rate and leadership. You're now going to be able to a lot easier craft leadership on your armor, which is going to be fantastic. It's going to bring more balance to the game, and I love it. Hero material changes. To sum this up, all of the old crafting materials, the wire and thread, the lacquer, the plates, the bars, it's all gone. And it's only come into two. We've only got two things now. We've got rolls of leather and steel ingots. And it's going to take all of those away from you, and it's going to give them back to you either straight into your inventory, or I think probably by mail. And one of the other things is this one here that I want to draw your attention to. Powdered silver you can now buy 30 a week for using bronze at 2,500 each. Now that's really useful if you've been going backwards and forwards from the horse seller to the smith. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with that, you've been paying too much for your powdered silver. Just by the way, if you go to the horse seller and you buy the green saddles and you take them to the smith and break them all down, they will give you powdered silver back, and that's how you can create powdered silver out of bronze. You might still need to do this. 30 a week's not amazing, but I do urge you every single week to go and buy those 30, because you are going to need powdered silver in huge quantities that you don't quite realise when you're first starting the game. Skill page changes. Again, it's brilliant, because I am so sick of going, I need 40 skill pages to get level 3 glaive ult. So you click, 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 click. What's going to happen now is all skill pages and all skill books are obsolete. They're going to come in instead with having a scroll, and the scroll, a skill scroll, or whatever they're going to call it, is it works on all weapons. There's no individual weapon ones. If you've got those skill books, as soon as you click on them now, they will become the scroll. And if you've got any weapon-specific ones in your inventory, they will now disappear and they will mail you new scrolls. Changes to earning to doctrines. Drop rates for some doctrines have been updated, and that's really good. They did give us a list, and some of them are quite important. The only ones that I wasn't so happy about is I can see now that on Frontier, if you play on the Frontier servers, it's a lot easier to get leadership reduction doctrines, and I don't think that's a good thing. But lots of people in my chat, they're pretty happy about that, so hey, each to their own, I guess. The Epic Mobility Doctrine can now be gained by Tritizers. That was always possible on Frontier, it's now good on MyCom, and the drop chance is equal to that other doctrines of the same quality, and that's great because they're very good for slow units like Falconetti, like, what do I put them on? Imperial Pike Guard, very useful. System setting changes. Now they added an option to shrink tooltips, and you should shrink those tooltips. Added a setting that lets you turn off clouds under graphics settings, so if you're running an older system or a less powerful graphics card, you can now up your frames. Forward balancing and optimization. Liquid fire. So liquid fire's now got a 2.5 meter radius. It was never a very popular skill unless you're an all-bomb musket, you know, full-strength all-bomb musket, and even then it wasn't a particularly popular skill. Is this going to make it more popular? I don't think so. Prove me wrong. Dual blades. So dual blades took a bit of a hit this season. I haven't fully gone through the dual blades runes, but it sounds like from the boys in the chat room there that, well, they didn't get as good as last season. And the other thing is their basic attack has been reduced, the multiplier has been reduced by 20%, and I think that is to make them more of an assassin and less of a fighter. So, whatever. When crafting Gate Thunderbolt, you now hold down the button while moving, and the skill being used as you release the button. Previously you had to hold down and click, so that's just a bit of a QOL improvement. Glaive, the basic block break of the basic attack has been increased. That's great, Glaive needed that. Arc of Steel, block break of Arc of Steel has been increased, and the reduced cooldown from 20 to 16 seconds. Is it going to make that skill more popular? Who knows? I don't know. I don't play enough Glaive. Poleaxe. Poleaxe weapon dance hitbox has been increased by a full meter, like by 50%, up to 3. However, you're not going to get that healing rune this season. It's only longswords back to healing now, friend. And Maul. Forge of War 1, 2 and 3 has been increased by 50% of blunt plus 428 points. Will it make it the most popular one? You know, and I know that's not happening. Unit balancing and optimization. We will change the Iron Cap Bow Riders and Prefecture Pikes unit at the start of the season. During this season we will continue to change other units, including some high tier ones. Now that is good to hear. Work on the Cylindars, booming. Iron Cap Bow Riders, a new skill called Hurtle, greatly increases their movement speed. They were already very, very quick. A new skill, Combo Shots, increases the rate of fire, enabling you to shoot tons of arrows in a short amount of time, and a new passive called Bedevil. When attacking, reduces the enemy's piercing defense, can stack up to 5 times, and on reaching 5 stacks, it causes the enemy to lose health and inflicts daze. There's still a tomato tier unit, still a tomato level unit. I cannot see this one being more popular even with these changes. Prove me wrong. Prefecture Pikeman, we've improved the charge skill, tuning its speed and hitbox. The new passive 3 battles boosted their charge and will now launch a series of attacks together following a change. Excuse me while I clean my throat. Yum. Energy drinks, eh? So I've played a few games and I've seen a lot of them and I've tried to run them again. Obviously my Prefecture Pikes aren't max level because they were trashed here until now. Their charge instantly deletes heroes, but it's always done that. And I haven't got a lot of chances to use them on a unit yet, but from what I've noticed there's very little change in how they work. My unit is not max level. I can't save definitively. Bug fixes, there's some very minor stuff there with some bug fixes, yay. And of course here is with the changes to the crafting materials, of course you're going to get less crafting materials. You're going to have to rechange the recipes for the items. So you can press pause on this, or you can go and look at the link in the video description, but I'm not going to spend any time going over this because it's boring. Armor crafting formulas too, ooh, so that's much more exciting. Oh, braces, Boring. And that's the end. Hey, I hope you learned something new today, and I hope these patch notes were useful to you, or you just enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming to my channel. Oh, one more thing before I go that I forgot to tell you about. I've got all this new branding and stuff, right? Have you noticed? I bet you've noticed. Check this out. Boom! This is my t-shirt shop. Check it out. Down in the description, the video description, there's a link. And if you would like to get yourself a new hoodie, new t-shirt, look at this. Look at all these flash ones. Look at it. Ah, yeah. Look at it. Right there. Check out the link.